The alien ship arrived in Earth's orbit without warning. It was not an attack ship, at least not by design. Its silver body shone under the sunlight, huge and silent, like a giant predator watching from above. People on Earth froze when they saw it. News spread in seconds, fear and wonder mixing together. For the first time in history, humanity was face to face with visitors from another world. The governments of Earth rushed to respond. Messages were sent, signals exchanged, until finally the aliens agreed to land. They chose a secure meeting place far from the crowded cities, a secret base in the desert where the sand stretched for miles in every direction. The air was hot, the sky clear, and on that day, the world held its breath. The alien ship descended slowly. Dust and wind blew across the ground as its shadow swallowed the desert floor. The ramp opened, and figures walked out. They were tall, thin, their bodies covered in smooth armor-like skin. Their eyes glowed faintly, as if lit from within. They did not speak at first. They only looked around, watching, studying, as though humans were strange animals in a cage. Inside the meeting hall, the leaders of Earth sat at a long table. Soldiers stood nearby, tense but silent, ready for anything. The aliens entered with grace, their movements calm, their presence heavy. Everyone felt the weight of the moment. History was being written in that room. The translator device crackled. To life, the alien leader leaned forward, its voice echoing, cold and careful. It asked a simple question, one so strange, yet so sharp that the humans paused in confusion. The alien asked, "What do humans eat?" For a second, no one spoke. The room went silent. Out of all the questions the aliens could have asked about science, about technology, about war or peace, they had chosen this. The leaders exchanged glances. Why food? Why now? What did they truly want to know? The alien leader's eyes glowed. Brighter. "Answer," it said again. "What is the human diet?" One of the human representatives, an older man with a calm face, leaned forward. He had practiced speeches about peace, about cooperation, about sharing knowledge, but none of those speeches fit this moment. The question was too strange, too specific, and something about the way the aliens asked it made his skin crawl. He swallowed and gave a slow answer. "We eat many things." The aliens tilted their heads, almost in unison. Their thin necks bent unnaturally, as if curiosity was pulling them closer. "Many things?" the leader repeated. "Explain." The man hesitated. Around him, the other leaders whispered nervously. Should they tell the truth? Should they keep it simple? What if the wrong answer created fear or insult? But the aliens were waiting, their glowing eyes unblinking, and silence was more dangerous than truth. Finally, the man continued. "We eat plants, fruits, grains, vegetables. We eat animals. Fish, birds, livestock. We cook food in fire. We prepare it in many ways. Humanity eats a wide variety." The aliens shifted in their seats. Their glowing eyes flickered. Their translator device made soft noises, almost like nervous breathing. Then one alien whispered something to another, and the translator picked it up. "Carnivores." The humans heard the word and stiffened. The alien leader leaned closer. "You consume flesh?" it asked, its voice sharper now. "Yes," the man answered carefully. "Meat is part of our diet." The aliens pulled back slightly, as if the word itself carried danger. Their bodies twitched, and for the first time, the humans noticed it. They were uncomfortable. Not because of weapons, not because of threats, but because of food. The air in the room grew heavy. The question had opened something deeper then. Anyone expected not another human. A woman with sharp eyes added softly, "But not only meat. We eat everything. Plants, animals, almost anything that grows or moves on Earth." The alien leader stared at her. Its glowing eyes dimmed for a moment, then brightened again. "Almost anything," it repeated. as though the words carried poison. The humans noticed the aliens exchanging uneasy glances. Their long fingers tapped the table, their bodies shifting nervously. Whatever they had expected, this was not it. They had thought humans would say something simple, something harmless. But the truth was heavier, stranger. One alien finally asked, its voice trembling, "Is there anything you cannot eat?" The room grew colder. The humans did not answer at once. They looked at each other, uncertain. Some smiled faintly, as though remembering old survival stories. One man, younger than the rest, leaned forward and said quietly, "Not much. If it exists, we find a way." The aliens froze. Their glowing eyes widened. A silence spread, deeper than before, pressing on every person in the hall. The humans felt it too, that strange tension, as though a door had opened to a secret no one wanted to reveal. The alien leader leaned back, its long hands folding together. It spoke slowly now, carefully, as though every word mattered. "We have studied thousands of worlds. Every species has limits. Some eat light, some eat leaves, some eat only water life. But you," its glowing eyes burned brighter, "you eat everything." The human said nothing. The silence itself became the answer. The alien leader looked around the room, its thin mouth trembling. The translator crackled with static, almost breaking under the strain. "Tell us," it said, its voice nearly a whisper. "Why?" The human representative leaned back, his face calm but his eyes cold. "Because we must. Because survival demands it. Because Earth is not kind. Our world gave us storms, fire, hunger, cold, beasts that hunted us, diseases that tried to kill us. If we did not eat everything, we would have died long ago. So we adapted. We learned to consume what others could not." The aliens said nothing. Their glowing eyes dimmed, their bodies still. They understood now, at least partly, and the understanding brought fear. A species that eats everything is a species that survives anything. A species with no limits. A species that could spread anywhere, consume anything, and never stop. The room felt smaller, darker. The humans sat tall, their faces calm, but inside they felt the weight of what had just been revealed. The aliens had asked a simple question, and they had given a simple answer. But that answer carried more power than any weapon. The alien leader finally spoke again, its voice slow, heavy with dread. "Then you are not like the others." The human leaned forward, his voice low, almost a whisper, but strong enough to carry across the silent room. "No, we are not." The silence that followed was absolute. Even the air seemed afraid to move. And in that silence, the aliens realized something they had never expected. Something that made them more afraid than any gun or missile ever could. Humans were not just another species. They were survivors. They were predators. And they were hungry. The desert meeting hall was silent after the first exchange. The aliens had asked their question, and the humans had given their answer. But the answer had not satisfied them. It had only created more questions, more unease, and more fear. The glowing eyes of the alien delegation flickered like small stars in the dim light, and their long fingers tapped slowly against the table. They wanted details. They wanted the truth, no matter how much it disturbed them. The alien leader leaned forward, its voice calm but sharp, cutting through the silence. "List them," it said. "All that you eat. From smallest to largest, we must know." The human representatives exchanged looks. Some frowned, some shifted uncomfortably. No one had expected this line of questioning. They had prepared for politics, for promises, for questions of peace or war. But now the aliens wanted a list of food, as if the very survival of the galaxy depended on it. Perhaps it did. The first to speak was the same older man who had answered before. His voice was steady, but his eyes carried the weight of history. "We eat fruits," he began. "Apples, oranges, berries, bananas. We eat vegetables, potatoes, carrots, corn, beans, greens of every kind. Our planet grows endless varieties, and we eat them all. The aliens nodded slightly, their glowing eyes narrowing. That much was expected. Many species ate plants. That was safe, that was simple. But the humans were not finished, the man continued. We eat grains, wheat, rice, barley, oats. We grind them into flour, we bake them into bread, we cook them into meals. They sustain us, but we also create new foods from them. We make pastes, drinks, even fermented products. Nothing goes to waste. The aliens shifted again. The translator device clicked and hummed. They did not fully understand the concept of fermentation, of taking something simple and making it stronger, stranger, more powerful. But they understood enough to feel a twinge of unease. The humans were not only consumers, they were creators. Then the woman with sharp eyes spoke. Her voice was soft, but every word cut like a blade. We eat animals, she said. Cows, sheep, pigs, chickens. We raise them, we hunt them, we cook them. We eat their flesh, their milk, their eggs. We use fire, spices, heat, smoke. We make food from every part, even the bones. The aliens stiffened. Their glowing eyes dimmed for a moment, then burned brighter. A whisper spread among them, their voices low and uneasy. The translator picked up fragments. Flesh eaters, predators. Dangerous, but the humans were not finished. Another representative, younger and restless, leaned forward with a faint smile. We eat fish, he added. From rivers, from seas, from oceans. Small fish, large fish, creatures with scales, creatures with shells. We dive deep, we cast nets, we build ships to hunt them. The oceans feed us, and we take everything they offer. The aliens twitched, their long fingers clenching the table. One finally muttered, "You consume from land and water." "Yes," the young man said, "from land, from water, from air." His eyes shone as he added, "We eat birds too. Chickens, ducks, turkeys, wildfowl. We trap them, we raise them, we cook them. Their wings, their legs, their eggs, we take it all." The alien leader's mouth tightened. Its glowing eyes flickered. "Air, land, sea," it repeated, as though the idea itself was heavy with dread. "There is no place safe from you." The humans said nothing, but their silence was an answer. Another alien spoke suddenly, its voice trembling. "Do you consume insects?" The question sounded almost absurd, but there was fear in it, real fear. The humans glanced at each other then. One of them nodded slowly. "Yes," the woman replied. "Some cultures eat insects. Beetles, crickets, worms. We cook them, fry them, grind them into powder. They are food." The aliens hissed softly, their translator crackling. One muttered, "Not possible. Poison. Filth." But the humans only watched calmly. The older man leaned forward again, his voice calm and heavy. "Even plants that are poison, even fruits that would kill another species, we find ways. We boil them, we burn them, we break them down. Our science and our hunger work together. We make food from what is deadly. We adapt, we survive." The aliens recoiled, their glowing eyes wide. Their thin bodies shifted, uncomfortable, as if the very idea made their skin crawl. "You eat what kills you," one of them whispered. The man's eyes were cold. "We make it safe, or we take the risk. Survival is not gentle." The alien leader leaned back in its chair, its long fingers trembling now. The translator crackled as it spoke. "You eat fruits, plants, grains, beasts of the land, creatures of the water, creatures of the sky, insects, poisons. You consume everything that lives on your world." "How?" the woman answered softly. "Because Earth is cruel. Our world does not feed us easily. We had to learn. We had to fight. We had to make food where there was none." The aliens were silent. For a long time. Their glowing eyes flickered, their hands twisting nervously. They had studied hundreds of species, thousands of diets. Most ate one kind of food. Some ate two. But never had they seen a species that consumed everything. Never had they seen a species that turned poison into nourishment, death into survival. Finally, one alien leaned forward, its voice low and sharp. "Is there nothing you will not eat?" "Nothing you cannot," the young man smiled faintly. His eyes were hard, almost cold. "Not much. If it exists, we will try. We find ways. Fire, salt, fermentation, grinding, boiling, freezing. We break down walls. We make the world feed us." The alien leader's mouth trembled. Its glowing eyes dimmed, then flared again. "You are without limits." The silence that followed was thick and heavy. The humans sat calmly, but their calmness was a weapon in itself. The aliens shifted, restless, whispering among themselves. They had wanted the list, and they had received it. But instead of answers, the list had given them fear. One alien muttered to another, but the translator carried it across the room. "They consume like a plague. Nothing stops them. They are hunger itself." The humans heard the words. They did not answer, but inside, they understood the truth. To the aliens, humanity was not just another species. Humanity was a storm, a fire, a hunger that could never be controlled. The alien leader stood slowly. Its glowing eyes burned with a strange mix of fear and respect. It looked at the humans, studied their calm faces, their steady eyes. And then it spoke, its voice heavy and slow. "If what you say is true, then your kind is unlike any we have ever known. You are not bound by nature. You are not bound by rules. You are bound only by need." The older man nodded once. His voice was quiet but strong. "Yes, that is what makes us human." The alien said nothing more. They sat in silence, their glowing eyes flickering, their thin bodies still. And in that silence, the weight of the truth pressed down on them. Humans ate everything. Humans survived everything. And that truth was more terrifying than any weapon or army. The meeting was not over. But already, the aliens had begun to fear. The answer they had demanded. They had asked for the list. Now they wished they had not. The desert meeting hall was heavy with silence. The aliens had asked, and the humans had answered. Fruits, grains, plants, animals, insects, everything that grew, swam, crawled, or flew on Earth could be food for humanity. The aliens had listened, their glowing eyes shifting with unease, their long fingers tapping nervously against the table. They had wanted to know what humans ate. Now they wished they had not asked. But curiosity is not so easily silenced. Fear had not stopped them yet. There was still one more question trembling on their lips. The alien leader leaned forward, its face calm but its eyes burning bright. "You said you eat everything. But what are you truly? Are you prey or are you predator?" The words cut through the room like a blade. The humans did not answer at once. They sat in silence, calm and steady, while the aliens shifted and whispered. At last, the older man who had spoken before leaned forward. His voice was steady and his eyes were cold. "We are predators, apex predators, the highest of our world." The aliens recoiled. Some hissed softly, their bodies twitching in discomfort. The word itself was enough to send fear through them. Predators. It was a word they knew well, a word that carried death in every galaxy. But they had not expected to hear it from the mouths of these creatures, these humans who looked so fragile, so soft, so weak compared to the armored beasts of other worlds. The alien leader's voice cracked slightly as it repeated, "Apex. Predators?" "Yes," the older man replied. "On our world, we were hunted once. By beasts larger than us, stronger than us, faster than us. But we learned. We made tools, we made traps, we made fire. We turned the hunters into prey. We rose to the top. No animal rules over us now. We are the hunters of Earth." The aliens shifted uneasily. One whispered to another, and the translator crackled. They hunt for sport, for need, for power. Another voice hissed. They are not prey, they are danger. The woman with sharp eyes spoke next. Her voice was calm, but her words were sharper than knives. We do not only kill for food. We hunt for defense, we hunt for resources, we hunt for survival. We learn to stalk, to wait, to strike at the right moment. We learned patience, we learned strategy. That is what makes us dangerous. The aliens stared at her, their glowing eyes wide. Strategy, patience. These were not the words of simple animals. These were the words of killers. The young man leaned forward, his smile faint but unsettling. We do not fear the dark, he said. We use the night. We used silence. We became hunters of every place, forest, mountain, desert, sea. We made weapons from stone, then from iron, then from fire itself. Nothing stopped us. Not size, not strength, not teeth or claws. We learned to kill everything. The aliens twitched. At his words, one of them muttered softly, fire, weapons, endless hunger. The translator echoed the words, filling the room with dread. The older man continued, his voice steady and heavy. We studied our prey. We learned their tracks, their habits, their weaknesses. We could wait for days, for weeks, hiding, silent, until the moment was right. We did not always run faster. We did not always strike harder. But we always struck smarter. That is why we rose above them. That is why we survive. The alien leader's hands trembled against the table. Its glowing eyes burned brighter, but its voice was softer now. You make it sound natural, as if your nature is to hunt. The woman nodded once. It is. We are hunters. Even when we farm, even when we raise animals, even when we live. In cities of steel and glass, our minds remain hunters. We look for weakness, we plan, we act. That is what we are. The aliens fell silent. Their glowing eyes flickered uneasily. For them, predators were monsters of the wild, beasts of muscle and instinct. But humans were different. Humans were predators with minds, with fire, with patience. That made them far worse. Another alien, smaller than the rest, spoke suddenly, its voice sharp and nervous. Do you hunt each other? The question froze the room. The humans looked at one another. Some frowned, some looked away, some gave faint, cold smiles. Finally, the young man answered. Yes, we have hunted each other. We have fought wars, battles, conflicts. We have spilled blood of our own kind, sometimes for survival, sometimes for power, sometimes for nothing at all, the aliens hissed. Their translator crackled with static, unable to soften the horror of the words. One whispered, they kill their own, by choice. Another muttered, they are not like any others, they are worse. The older man leaned forward, his voice hard. Yes, we have killed each other, but we also learned from it. We became stronger, sharper. We built weapons that could destroy armies, weapons that could destroy worlds. We became dangerous, even to ourselves. The alien leader pressed its long fingers together, its body trembling. Its glowing eyes dimmed, then burned again. You are predators of everything. Of beasts, of sea, of sky, of yourselves. The woman answered softly, yes, that is why we survive. That is why we adapt. That is why we are still here. The aliens sat in silence, their glowing eyes flickering in fear. For the first time they understood. Humanity was not simply a species that ate everything. Humanity was a species that hunted everything. They were not just survivors. They were predators of the highest order. The alien leader finally spoke again, its voice trembling. You could eat us? The humans looked at one another. None of them answered at first. Then the young man smiled faintly, his voice soft but sharp. If we had to, yes. The aliens froze. Their glowing eyes widened, their thin bodies stiffening. In shock, A silence deeper than any before filled the hall. The humans did not move, did not flinch. Their calmness was worse than any threat. The alien leader's voice cracked. "You would eat another thinking being?" The older man's voice was steady. "If survival demanded it, yes, we do not seek it. We do not desire it. But if hunger was stronger than law, stronger than fear, stronger than morality, then yes, we would." The aliens trembled. One whispered, its voice thin and afraid, "Monsters. They are monsters of flesh and mind." The humans sat silently. They did not deny it. They did not argue. They simply waited, their eyes calm, their faces steady, as if the fear of the aliens was just another part of the truth. The alien leader leaned back slowly, its long hands shaking. Its glowing eyes flickered between fear and awe. "You are predators without end. There's no safety, no sanctuary, no limit." The older man nodded once, his voice calm. "Yes, that is humanity. We hunt, we eat, we survive." The silence that followed was suffocating. The aliens stared at the humans as though looking at shadows, creatures that should not exist. They had asked their question. They had received their answer. And the answer was worse than they had imagined. The humans were predators, the highest predators, apex hunters of a cruel world. And in the quiet desert hall, the aliens began to understand what that truly meant. The meeting hall in the desert had turned into a chamber of fear. The aliens sat frozen, their glowing eyes dimming and brightening like trembling stars. They had asked, and the humans had answered. Not only did humans eat everything, they were predators, apex hunters of their world. That truth alone was enough to make the alien delegation uneasy. But the silence that followed was worse. The silence carried weight. The silence whispered danger. The humans sat calm and steady, their eyes sharp, their faces unreadable. And that calmness, that stillness, frightened the aliens more than any shouted threat. The alien leader finally rose from its seat. Its long body was trembling, though it tried to stand tall. Its glowing eyes swept across the humans, as if trying to understand what kind of beings they truly were. "You are predators of everything," it said slowly, the translator device humming with strain. "There is no limit to your hunger. This is dangerous. Dangerous for all." The human representatives did not answer. The older man leaned back in his chair, hands folded calmly, his expression almost gentle. The woman with sharp eyes remained silent, her gaze unblinking. The young man gave the faintest hint of a smile, and that smile unsettled the aliens more than any weapon could. Alien delegation began whispering among themselves. Their voices were fast, nervous, their glowing eyes flashing as they spoke in their strange tongue. The translator caught fragments, words like contagion, plague, unstoppable, monsters. Fear spread from one alien to another like fire. In dry grass, the alien leader slammed its hand against the table. The sound echoed across the hall. "Enough," it said to its own kind. But its own voice shook, and the humans could hear the fear beneath the command. The aliens obeyed, but unease remained in their eyes. The leader turned back to the humans. "Do you understand what you are? Do you know what your kind means to the galaxy?" The older man leaned forward, his voice calm, steady. "We understand. We know that we are survivors. That is what we have always been." The alien leader's glowing eyes narrowed. "Survivors," it repeated. The word was bitter on its tongue. "Yes, but survivors who consume everything become destroyers. Survivors who hunt without limits become threats. If you spread beyond your world, if you take root among the stars, there will be no stopping you." The humans said nothing. Their silence was an answer, and the answer was terrifying. Word of the meeting began to spread. The alien delegation had not intended to share their fear, but whispers traveled faster than secrets. The guards who stood outside the chamber heard fragments. The aides who carried messages noticed the trembling of their leaders. Soon, rumors ran like wind through the corridors of the ship above, through the camps outside the desert base, through every channel of the alien fleet. The story was simple, but powerful. The humans eat everything. The humans are predators. The humans have no limits. By the time the alien delegation returned to their vessel, the fear had already begun to spread. Across the stars, messages were sent, coded transmissions racing from ship to ship, from station to station. The words were passed in whispers and in panic. They are dangerous. They are hunger itself. They are predators in human skin. In the hall, the humans remained calm. They knew what was happening. They saw the fear. And though they had not come to spread terror, they did not deny it either. Fear could be as useful as diplomacy. Fear could be a shield as strong as any treaty. Inside the alien ship, the delegation argued fiercely. Their glowing eyes burned. Their long hands pointed, their voices sharp with panic. Some said humanity must be watched, contained, stopped before it was too late. Others argued that humanity could be useful allies, dangerous but loyal if treated with respect. A few whispered the darkest fear. What if they already planned to consume us? The alien leader stood in silence while the voices clashed around it. It had seen the calm faces of the humans. It had heard the steady voices, the unshaken words. It knew the truth more clearly than the others. Humanity was not raging, not attacking, not threatening. Humanity was waiting. And that patience, that hunter's patience, was the most terrifying of all. The leader finally raised its hand, silencing the room. "We must ask one more question," it said. Its voice was heavy, its glowing eyes dim. "We must know the deepest truth." The room went quiet. All the aliens turned their glowing eyes toward their leader, waiting for the final question. The leader looked down, its long fingers trembling. Then it whispered, "Have they ever eaten one of their own?" The words struck the room like thunder. Even among the aliens, the idea was unthinkable. No civilized species would ever consume its own kind. The thought itself was horror, madness, the mark of monsters. Yet they could not deny what they had already learned. The humans had no limits. Perhaps even this was possible. The aliens argued again, their voices filled with dread. Some said it could not be true. Others said it must be asked. The leader's glowing eyes flickered. It remembered the young man's faint smile, the woman's sharp gaze, the older man's calm words. They had spoken of survival above all. If survival demanded the unthinkable, would they do it? The leader believed it already knew the answer. But still, it had to hear it spoken aloud. Back in the desert hall, the humans waited. They saw the aliens return, their glowing eyes dim, their bodies tense. The leader stepped forward slowly, as if carrying a burden too heavy to bear. It stood before the humans, and its voice cracked as it spoke. "One last question," it said, "the most terrible of all. Have you ever consumed your own kind?" The hall went silent. Even the air seemed to freeze. The humans did not answer at once. They looked at each other, their eyes meeting in quiet understanding. This was not a question of pride or politics. This was a question of truth, a question of survival's darkest edge. The older man closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. His voice was soft, but it carried through the silence. "Yes, in rare times, in great hunger, when no other choice remained. We have eaten our own." The aliens recoiled as though struck. Their glowing eyes blazed with horror. Some hissed. Some turned away, some trembled openly. The leader itself staggered back, its long hands clenching in shock. The translator device crackled with static, unable to soften the horror of the words. The woman with sharp eyes spoke next, her voice firm. "We do not seek it. We do not desire it. But when death pressed close, when survival was stronger than law, stronger than fear, stronger than morality, then yes, It has happened. The young man leaned forward, his eyes steady, his voice quiet but cold. That is who we are. We survive. Even when the price is unthinkable. The aliens were horrified. Some could not even look at the humans now. Their glowing eyes dimmed, their bodies trembling, their voices broken with fear. They had asked for truth, and they had received it. But the truth was too heavy, too sharp, too terrible. Humanity had no limits. Humanity would do anything to survive. The alien leader stood still, its glowing eyes empty with dread. It had hoped for denial, for reassurance, for some boundary to the hunger of mankind. But there was none. Humanity was a species that could even consume itself if survival demanded it. There was no greater fear than this. The silence in the hall was endless. The aliens could not speak. The humans did not move. The truth hung in the air like a storm about to break. And in that silence, the fear spread wider, deeper, heavier. It spread beyond the hall, beyond the desert, beyond the planet. It spread into the stars themselves, carried on whispers and coded messages, on rumors and warnings. The humans have no limits. The humans will survive anything. The humans are predators without end. The fear had begun. And it would not stop. The desert hall was filled with a silence that seemed to stretch endlessly. The aliens had asked the most terrible question they could think of, and the humans had answered with quiet honesty. Yes, humans had eaten their own in rare times of great hunger. The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp, slicing through the calm of the room. The aliens recoiled, their glowing eyes wide, their thin bodies trembling. This was more than they had expected. This was beyond fear. This was a truth that shook the very core of their understanding. The older man sat back in his chair, his hands folded over his lap. His voice was calm, steady, like a rock in a storm. "We do not seek it," he said. "We do not enjoy it. We do not celebrate it. But survival is the highest law. When death closes in, when there is no other path, we do what we must." The alien leader's glowing eyes flickered. It leaned forward, its long hands trembling on the table. You admit this?" "Yes," the young man said softly, his eyes unwavering. "We admit it. We are humans. We survive. We adapt, we endure, even when the choice is unthinkable." The aliens sat back, some shaking, some silent, some whispering in their strange tongue. The translator device carried fragments to the humans, words like monsters, unimaginable, horrors, apex predators floated through the air. The humans listened, but they said nothing. They did not flinch, did not apologize, did not justify. They only sat, steady and calm, like mountains against a raging wind. The woman with sharp eyes leaned forward. Her voice was quiet, but every word was precise, cutting through the room. "Understand this," she said. "We do not act without reason. We do not kill without need. We are not cruel by desire. We are cruel when survival demands it. That is the line we walk. That is why we endure. That is why we exist." The alien leader's eyes narrowed. Its body seemed to shrink under the weight of the truth. "And yet," it said slowly, "you are feared, even by us. You are feared by your own words, by your actions, by your survival itself." The older man nodded. "Yes, that is true. We do not control the fear others feel. But we do control ourselves. We do not hunt for pleasure. We hunt for survival. We do not eat the weak when there is plenty to eat. But if the world leaves no choice, we act." The aliens trembled, some turning away, some whispering urgently. The concept of a species that could act without limits, yet with purpose, was frightening beyond measure. They had faced countless predators in their travels, seen worlds fall to hunger and war, but none like this. Humanity was different. Humanity was dangerous in ways they had never imagined. The young man leaned back, his faint smile returning. "You asked what we eat. he said, his voice calm, almost teasing. The answer is simple. We eat to survive. And we survive anything. The alien leader's glowing eyes flared, then dimmed. It stood slowly, towering over the table, trying to gather strength. You are not like any species we have known. You are unstoppable. There is no containment, no limit. You are monsters in human form. The woman spoke again, her voice soft but firm. We are not monsters, we are humans. We endure, we adapt, we survive, that is all. A hush fell over the hall. The aliens could not speak. Their minds struggled to process what they had heard. A species that could eat everything, hunt anything, survive against every obstacle, even itself, was not just unusual. It was terrifying. It was unstoppable. It was a force of nature that no strategy, no alliance, no weapon could fully contain. Outside the hall, in the deserts of Earth, the winds blew and carried whispers across the sand. Beyond Earth, in the stars, the fear spread even faster. Messages flew between alien fleets, between councils, between worlds. Humans have no limits, the whispers said. They survive anything. They are predators without end. Beware. Inside the hall, the humans remained calm. They did not cheer. They did not boast. Their calmness was more powerful than any weapon. The aliens were afraid not of what humans had done, but of what humans could do, what they could endure, and how far they could go if survival demanded it. The truth had not only terrified the aliens, it had humbled them. It had made them see a species unlike any they had ever encountered. The older man rose slowly from his chair, his eyes calm and sharp. He looked around the hall, at the trembling aliens, at their wide eyes, at their unsteady forms. You asked what we eat, he said. Now you know. And you know why you should respect us, why you should fear us, why you should understand that survival is the only law we follow. We endure, we survive, and we will continue to do so, no matter the cost. The aliens whispered among themselves. Some turned to leave, some remained, silent and uneasy, their glowing eyes flickering. The translator crackled with fragments of fear. They are unstoppable. They are monsters. They are hunger. The young man spoke one final time, his voice soft but carrying across the hall. You asked what humans eat. The answer is simple. We eat to survive. And we survive anything. That is what it means to be human. The hall fell silent once more. The aliens could not respond. Their minds reeled. Their bodies trembled. They had asked for truth. They had received it. And the truth was beyond what they could handle, beyond what they could imagine. Humans had no limits. Humans would survive anything. Humans were predators without end. And in that silence, the weight of the truth pressed down on everyone in the room, heavier than any weapon, sharper than any threat. The aliens understood at last what they faced. The humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature. They were unstoppable. They were terrifying. And they would endure whatever came. The desert winds blew outside, carrying sand. Across the endless dunes, the alien ship above Earth trembled slightly as if sensing the weight of the words spoken below. Humanity had spoken its truth. Humanity had revealed its nature. And the galaxy would never see them the same way again. In that moment, a chilling realization spread among the alien delegation. No force, no army, no plan could stop a species that could survive anything, consume anything, endure anything. The humans had spoken softly, but their words struck like thunder. They were survivors, hunters, predators, unstoppable. And the galaxy had just learned a terrifying lesson. The silence continued, unbroken. The humans remained calm, their eyes steady, their faces unshaken. They had told the truth. And that truth, simple yet profound, would echo far beyond the desert, far beyond Earth, far beyond the stars. Humans eat to survive. Humans survive anything. And nothing could change that.